Hello and welcome. I'm Lorianne Lumby with Authentic Freedom Academy, and today is Friday, October 23rd, and this is our weekly spiritual service, weekly spiritual message for the Authentic Freedom community. And before we begin, let's just take a few moments in silence to gather our energy, our awareness, our attention to this present moment and to our own reason for connecting in this space. As we gather in this circle, I just want to offer a prayer of gratitude. Gratitude for all the women and men that have come to connect through the Authentic Freedom Academy. Women and men that are dedicated to their own inner journey, to their journey of transformation, personal development, and self-actualization. Women and men that each come with their own unique gifts, their own unique life experience across a broad range of demographics. Women and men that are dedicated not only to their own transformation, but also to that of the world. I'm grateful for your energy and your presence and all the gifts that you bring to this circle. So thank you. Thank you for being here for yourself, and thank you for being here for the community. Thank you for being here for the world. As I had announced in the email earlier this week, the theme for today's gathering is Stay the Course. As we are all aware, we are at this time of profound unknowing, a time of epic change, and a time of great discomfort, and for some people, turmoil. While the happenings in the United States should not have bearing on the rest of the world, unfortunately, it seems that it does. As we draw closer to the events of November 3rd, and the hours and the days and the weeks that will unfold, perhaps unravel from that, we are feeling a lot of anxiety. I know for myself, I have been experiencing a lot of empathic anxiety, and increasingly so the closer we get to the November 3rd event. Anxiety that I know is not mine. This is an anxiety that is of the collective. And the makeup of that anxiety has changed. It began with some frustration and irritation and stress, and evolved and morphed into a profound feeling of annoyance and irritation and almost anger over really nothing. You ever have those days where you wake up and you just feel annoyed and you don't know why, and you don't really have a reason for it? Today was one of those days. As I tuned into that energy, the word that surfaced for me was quickening. Quickening is a term that is used in conjunction with labor, and it is that strange stage, uncomfortable stage, maddening stage of labor. Where the body is filled with the energy of new life trying to be brought forward into the world. So every woman who has ever experienced labor knows that energy of new life coming into form is not an energy that's calming or relaxing or soothing. It is an energy of frustration, annoyance. You feel as if your body is possessed by some force that is surging energy through you. Energy that is surging toward an end. And the end is to bring new life into this world. But there's not anything comfortable about labor. There's pain, there's anxiety, there's pressure, there's frustration and irritation, there's impatience. I remember screaming at the height of my labor with my first child, "Get this baby out of me." The energy that I awakened to this morning was a similar kind of energy. Get this out of me, whatever this is. So it feels as if we are in a time of quickening, moving ever nearer to what we don't know, and approaching this great unknown with no map, no itinerary, no plan, no formula or recipe. It is almost as if, or it feels as if, we are walking blind. As I sat in reflection over that, as it relates to the Stay Your Course for today's theme, I was reminded of all of the characters in Scripture, all the stories in Scripture, with women and men that receive a beckoning, a calling, a sensation and a feeling to move. I think of Noah and the ark. Now, it's probably just a myth. There probably isn't an ark sitting on Mount Ararat in Turkey. whether Noah and the ark happened literally or is simply a metaphor for the human journey, there's a profound message there of receiving a call, having no freaking idea how you're going to accomplish it. There's no plan, there's no map, there's no agenda, but there's something in you that will not let you say no. There's something in you that will only allow you to persist, to continue moving, even though you have no idea what you're doing or where you're going. The same thing happened with Abraham and Sarah. Something within them called them out of their homeland into a journey through the wilderness, having no idea where they were going, but deep within themselves feeling led. No map, no itinerary, probably no compass to guide them. They just followed the urgings of their own heart and their soul, which led them to a land where they were welcome and where they were allowed to set up camp and to form a community. The same was true for Jacob, who fell in love with Rachel and wanted her to be his bride. But the father, Rachel's father, prescribed a bride price. So many years of labor in exchange for his daughter. If I remember correctly, it was 7 years. So Jacob knew what he was called to. He had an idea of the outcome that he desired, but he couldn't have it right away, and he didn't know exactly how it would manifest. But he persisted. He stayed with that love in his heart that caused him to persistently pursue the work he was given to do so that he could have the love of his life. The same is true of Moses and the Israelites. Moses had his crazy moment on the mountain of God, where he heard God's voice through the burning bush, offering the eternal invitation to freedom. To be led out of the land of slavery into a good and gracious land flowing with milk and honey. Talk about a leap of faith. Moses felt this calling in his heart. He felt the longing to invite his people to freedom. He pursued the ends of that invitation, leading with him those that were able and willing to leave the land that they knew behind. But they didn't arrive in the promised land immediately. In fact, it was 40 years. 40 years of wandering in the wilderness with no map. Absolutely no idea where they were going or how to get there. Wandering through a vast wilderness with only faith to go by, with only a desire, and maybe at some point a wish to just get the hell out of the desert. For 40 years, Moses and the Israelites wandered. No map, no compass, no idea where they were going or what this destination was that was called the Promised Land. And yet, they persisted, whining and crying a lot of the way, but they did persist. And what about those magi? Those ancient astrologers who saw a star, something that got their attention, that said, follow, come along, see what's on the other side of this. They didn't know to what they were being led. They didn't know where they were going, except they knew to follow the star. This star that beckoned them from the moment of its appearance until the moment of its rest, bringing the Magi into an encounter with something remarkable, something new, something hopeful. This is where we are today, at this place of quickening, at this place of discomfort and restlessness, impatience, frustration, annoyance, maybe even fear. And yet we are invited to stay the course. We don't know what the outcome of the November 3rd event will be, or how long it will take for us to find out the outcome. We don't know how or why or in what way this event may or may not provide a turning point in our world. Death feels almost certain. Death in the sense of great endings. Endings of what we have known. Like the life that the Israelites knew when they were in Egypt, enslaved. Perhaps our slavery is ending. And we don't know how long it will take us to arrive at the Promised Land. Or if there's nothing but desert to find on the other side of this. But I think that there is something more than just desert. It might take us 40 years to get there, or 100, or more. But what keeps me moving through all the challenges and frustrations in our world is that I have hope in humanity. Even in those days when I want to tear my hair out and everybody just drives me insane, there is something in the greatest depths of my heart that knows what human beings are capable of. I've seen the love. I've seen the compassion. I've seen people reaching out in loving support for those in need. I've seen people responding to the call for justice and equality and celebration of the diversity of the human species. Even on the days when the worst of humanity shows itself, I know in the deepest part of my soul that we are more than that. And it is this that is my guiding star, that allows me to stay the course as we move through this time of profound and dramatic change. My invitation for you this week is to reflect on what it is in your heart that calls you forward. What is it within you that inspires you to stay the course? What is your star that guides you? The star that guides you when you have no map, there is no plan, and you have no idea where you're going.